Hey everyone, so in today's video I wanted to help you new teachers on how to survive your first year teaching. I know so many of you guys are going to be new teachers this year and I'm very excited for you, and I wanted to help you guys with some things that really helped me get through the year when I was crawling to the finish line. Here are some things that really made me get through the year. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. Okay, this one's like a little simple thing, but it really helps. So a huge piece of advice is to play music on the way to school that will pump you up. I'm a podcast listener, so I love listening to podcasts. But anytime I was on my way to work, I made sure I was playing some of my favorite songs. I personally love Taylor Swift, so I was playing some music to get me in a better mood. This just really, first of all, wakes you up and starts you off with some positive energy, especially in the morning when you're tired or you're dreading going to work. Having some pumped up music that you love really gets a nice start to the day, and it will just make you feel so much better walking to that building that day. So highly recommend that. Okay, the next thing is to do something for yourself every day and something for yourself every week. And again, when I'm talking about do something for yourself every single day, that could be really small. For me personally, I love watching my favorite TV shows, and so if I knew on Monday nights I had a new show coming out that I was excited to watch, Tuesday night, Thursday night, and so on, I was excited and looking forward to that. I just think having something to look forward to every single day is a huge help. Like, even if you're looking forward to on your drives home for calling a family member or a friend, just have something to look forward to every single day. It'll help you get through those days, and even cooking your favorite meal, online shopping when you get home, just anything. Make sure you're doing something for yourself every single day, because you can kind of get lost when you are totally focused on work and come home and that's like all you do is do more work, which is what I did a lot at the beginning of the school year. Was I would work all day and then come home and work until I went to bed. Like, I was not taking time for myself, and those are things that I prioritized in grad school when it was hard for me, was just making sure I had something to look forward to every day. And so once I kind of got out of that, I made sure I started to prioritize something I enjoyed every single day, and it helped a lot. And then same with just having something you look forward to every week. So I would make sure I did something every weekend that I enjoyed, whether that was going out to dinner with friends, going to brunch, going shopping, running errands, having like a nice deep clean of your apartment, which some people is like, okay, that's like a chore that you have to do, but some people really enjoy that stuff. So just make sure you find something that you love doing every single day and every single week. My third tip is to make sure you're giving yourself some grace. Being a brand new teacher is extremely challenging, and it is a big, really important job. And so you are gonna have some pressure, some high expectations on you, but you have to give yourself some grace. And just remind yourself that you are new, and you are going to, in the future, look back at your first year teacher self as like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I stressed about those things, or I felt like I didn't know much about that, but now I've become so much more knowledgeable. Just give yourself some grace and really try to alleviate some of that pressure of being a new teacher, because it is an important job, but you gotta remember that you are also learning as you go. And it's not like a regular job where you're training for a few weeks and then it's just the same thing that you're doing for the rest of the year. Those are normally what you do. You learn how to do something and then are like, okay, this is how it goes. But in teaching, you're constantly being fed new information where it never feels like you know what to do, which I'm hoping that was just my experience at this past school. And for the most, of course, we're always going to be learning new things, but I'm really hoping that for the most part, I feel confident in what I'm doing and feel confident learning new material and using it in my curriculum or whatever. But in general, I feel like you are constantly being told new things or how to do new things, and new experiences that come up. You'll feel like you're constantly being told new things, and it doesn't feel like you quite got the hang of it yet, which is okay. And if it does take, I've heard that it takes 3 years to be comfortable in this profession. So where some jobs it may take 3 months, and teaching is just might be 3 years. And if that's the case, just make sure you're giving yourself some grace. Okay, next tip is to make your lunch and pick out your outfits the day before. So either meal prepping for the week, which is something I really like doing, was on Sundays I would just make either like a huge thing of pasta or some salad wraps, just different things. I would like making that on Sunday and then putting it in my containers, and that way in the morning I just put my little leftover container in my bag and everything was ready to go. That helped a lot, so I wasn't stressed in the morning making my lunch for the day, or if I'm running out of time, like feeling like, oh no, I guess I don't have lunch, which did happen a couple times. I was running late and didn't have a lunch prepared, so I didn't have lunch that day, which is like not okay. So that, and just like in the beginning of the school year, I was really good about this, which was picking out my outfit the day before. And it was so nice because I didn't have to worry about what I was gonna wear the next day. It was so easy. It made my mornings go really smooth. So I'm really gonna try and make sure I do that this next year, is do that every day. But it just really is a great tip of just making you a little bit less stressed when you have your lunches and your outfits prepped for that next day. My next tip is really, really important, which is to find a mentor at your school. And at your school, you might even be provided a mentor that's like designated for new teachers. I know a lot of schools do this, but if your mentor is not very helpful to you or not really supportive, or you don't feel comfortable going to that mentor, still make sure you go out and find a different one. I know this is kind of the case at our school. We had a mentor provided to us that wasn't really supportive, so kind of left a few of us like afraid to ask questions, but we were then able to find other people who were really helpful to us, and it made a world of a difference. I know I leaned on my teammate a lot, and she was incredible, and I just think it's just so important to have someone in your corner where you can ask questions to, and who are excited to help and won't judge you for asking questions, and are just really genuine and supportive to you as a new teacher, and just like get it. Okay, my next tip is to remain authentic when it comes to teaching in the classroom. And I feel like a lot of this translates to people's teaching styles. It's hard to have an idea of a teaching style that you want, because I personally think a lot of teaching styles are truly reflective of your own personality. It's so important to like really stay true to yourself and be authentic to you, because one, the kids will see right through that, especially if you do have those older kids. You just gotta be yourself. Like, this is why I feel like a younger grade would not jive with me, because you just have to be a little bit more animated. I'm like, that's just so not me. I just need to get up in front of the classroom, talk how I normally would talk, and just like be myself. And I think that is like the best way to kind of emulate your teaching style, will then build relationships with your students, is just by being yourself. So don't try and be someone else. If you see another teacher down the hall acting a certain way or having a certain teaching style, and you want to emulate that, and then you just try and do it, and you're like, this does not feel like me, like it just does not feel like myself, then you know what? I think that's a sign that you just need to stick to who you are. Okay, the next one is to make positive phone calls home the first week of school, which I told you guys about this in one of my past videos, but it is so important, and a huge tip is to make those positive phone calls to every single student that first week of school. It is going to really, really set the positive tone with your families, and that way in the future, if you need to reach out to that parent, you already started off on a good positive foot, where they're then more inclined to be really supportive of you and have your back, because you started that relationship on a great foot. So highly recommend this. You have to do. I know especially your first week as a brand new teacher, it's kind of intimidating, but what I did is I saw on a TikTok, a girl kind of laid out her template of kind of what she says, and so what I did was write that down on a sticky note, and then filled in like specific things for each student that I wanted to say, and then I use that template to help me guide my conversations. So, and then for each student, I kind of filled in specific things for each one of what I wanted to say and mention, but just having a kind of like an outline of what to say was really helpful, especially for me. I'm kind of someone who like freezes up when I need to talk to someone on the phone or something. I get nervous, so having that really helped, and it was really easy to kind of get through those phone calls. So definitely recommend that. Okay, next huge tip that is super important, and it's easier said than done, but it's to not compare yourself, or try not to compare yourself to other teachers. It is super hard as a first year teacher. I'm sure in many of your experiences you're probably going to be one of few, because it is pretty rare where like majority of the building is brand new teachers. But if you are one new teacher at a school and everyone has been there for years and years and years and has so much years of experience under their belt, try not to compare yourself to them. You really have to understand that you're in a much different place from them, and I'm sure they could look back on their first year experience and could tell you that they are at a much different place than they are now, and have learned so much and have come such a long way. Me personally, even from my first year, I've even noticed a huge big difference of me approaching it, planning, and coming up with ideas just because of that 1 year experience. So just really try to not compare yourself. I know it's much easier said than done, but know that you are at a much different place than everybody else, and it's okay if you still have so much to learn and you don't have as much experience or knowledge as these people do. My next tip, which I know it is extremely hard as a first year teacher, but it is to try your best to leave at contract hours. I know this is super hard because you feel like your head is constantly below water and you're trying to keep it above, and you just feel like you need to stay after school to get all your stuff prepared, which I will say in the beginning I feel like it's kind of hard to avoid because you're just trying to get a hang of things. But whenever you get to that point where you feel like you can, try your best to leave at contract hours. I mean, personally, we like got out of school last school year at 4 o'clock, which is really late compared to other schools. And so what I would do, I was someone who would get to school early, and then and then get all my stuff done, and then as soon as 4 o'clock hit, I was like out the door for most of the school year, and it helped a lot. You know, at the beginning of the school year, I was at school and working for like 60 hours a week for like that first month, which is crazy. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I can't do that again. So once I kind of felt like I got the hang of things more, I was doing my best to leave at contract hours. And even then, like, I'm someone who totally likes working at home. So if there was something small that I needed to get done too, I could easily just like do that and chill in my apartment and watch TV while doing that, which was nice. And I will say, like, this next school year, it's gonna be very different where we get out a little earlier. So I could see myself staying a little bit, like 30 minutes after, but I just recommend do not stay hours and hours post contract hours doing work, because you will burn out and it'll drive you crazy. So try your best to take care of yourself. Okay, next thing is another huge one that really helped me get through my school year, which was to surround yourself with people that make you enjoy coming to work. You need to find someone, even if it's just one person that you can trust and you feel close with, that makes you excited about coming to work. Again, I've told you guys, I found like my people who made me feel so excited, and so many times of the year, like, this is what makes coming to work really enjoyable, is seeing our best friends every day. It was really nice having some people you can lean back on and support. There was like one day where all 3 of us were like crying at school, which was very ironic because it was all for very different reasons, but it was nice having that support system and just having someone who gets it. I think that's what's super important, is if you have friends or family who aren't teachers, it's really hard to vent to them because no one will get it like a teacher does. So having those people who you can just vent to was so helpful. I luckily have family and friends who are teachers, so I would vent to them too, which was very nice because it was comforting knowing that other people knew where I was coming from and they weren't like, what do you mean, it seems so easy. So that was really helpful. And my last tip is don't be afraid to ask questions. I feel like I asked a ton of questions to my teammate. I think it was just so helpful because she made me feel so comfortable asking her for help, and I probably drove her crazy with how many questions I asked, but I just like am someone who wants to be as prepared as possible, and asking her questions of things really helped, and I'm like so glad I was someone who wasn't afraid to ask her questions or other people things. So I think it's just super important, especially as a first year, you're gonna have lots of questions, so don't be afraid to ask them, because you're probably gonna need to know the answers to a lot of them. But those are my tips for surviving your first year teaching. I think they are all very important, and good luck to all of you guys who are going to be new teachers. If you guys have any more questions, be sure to head over to my Instagram and DM me some questions you have. I'll be happy to help. And if you guys enjoyed today's video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye guys.